Hello viewers, welcome to the series on convolutional neural network. In this session we are going to discuss about loading images to feed neural network. So without wasting much of our precious time, let's jump in and dive into the hands-on session of it. To train a neural network, we need a set of training images. Here we have written the code to load and pre-process our training images so they are in the right format to feed into a neural network. On line number 5 we can see that in order to load data we will call cfa10.loadData. This function returns 4 different arrays. First it returns an x and y array of training data. Similarly it will return x and y array of testing data. Here the X array will contain the actual images from the dataset and the Y array contains the matching label for each image, right? The test data is just additional images that we can use to test the neural network to make sure it's performing well. It's always important to test a neural network with data that it didn't see during training to make sure it actually learned how to tell the differences between the images and didn't just memorize the training data. Before we can use this data to train a neural network, we need to normalize it. Neural networks works best when the input data are floating point values in between 0 and 1. Normally, images are stored as integer values for each pixel is a number between 0 and 255. So to use this data, we need to convert it from integer to the floating point, and then we need to make sure all the values are between zeros and 1. So on line number 8 and 9, we are converting the data to floating point values. We have done that by using the as type function and passing in float32. Now we will need to scale the data so it's between 0 and 1. Since we know that our pixel data is between 0 to 255, we can just divide all the array values by 255 on line number 10 and 11. And CFA10 provides the labels for each class as values from 0 to 9. But since we are creating a neural network with 10 outputs, we need to separate expected value from each of those outputs. So we need to convert each label from a single number into an array with 10 elements. In that array, one element should be set to 1 and the rest set to be 0. This is something we almost always need to do with our training data. So keras provides a helper function. It's called keras.utils.toCategorical help function. Okay. So on line number 13 and 14 we can see the use of the same function. So where we are just passing the array with the labels and the number of classes it has. We know that CFA10 has 10 classes. Now we have got this data ready to use with the neural network. Let's just run the code and double check all our code works fine. And it looks good. So this is how we load data to feed neural network. I hope this video proved fruitful to you and hope you have gained something extra than what you were knowing earlier. Thank you.